Hello everybody, we're back with Aunt Sissy. So this will be, I believe it's the third or the fourth in making cherry preserves. So we started out, showed you chopping the cherries, we showed making the cherry preserves, which was 4 cups of cherries and 4 3/4 a cup of sugar and 1 package of pectin, and we brought that to a boil, a rolling boil. Then we added 4 3/4 a cup of sugar, and then we cooked that to a rolling boil and stirred it for 1 minute 60 seconds while it was boiling. And then we took them out and we put them into jars that were sterilized, okay, that I sterilized for about 10 minutes, and then leave them in here where they're hot. Filled them up. These are getting ready to go in the canner, so I just wanted to show you. These we just filled up. These were taken out of the canner, so always use something hot because the lid's pretty hot. So we're going to take this out of the boiling water canner, and we're going to work quickly. I don't use glue. I don't want anything to get wet, so I just use my hands quickly and get them up like that. And then I'm going to use my tongs and take them out. And they kind of moved over, so sometimes you just got to pick them back up again. That one fell over. Okay, so I lifted it up. Okay. So what I like to do is take them out and leave the one in the middle, the last one, so it doesn't get off balance. So I'm taking them out, and very gently, you're going to lift them, carry them over there, and be careful. If you want, you can have a hot pad underneath, just in case it slips for any reason, but get a tight grip on it. Now these I did in some pint jars. So I've done jelly jars, which are 8 ounces, 1 cup, and I've done some pint jars because I ran out of jelly jars. Which can be reused, and the bands again, but not the lids. So this is the one in the middle, be the last, and I do tilt it to get the water off of the lid. And I like the way these are. I'm going to move that one over and put that one here. So those are what all we've done today. Now these are not terribly hot. I can lift them with my hands. So I'm going to put one of the bigger ones in the middle, and this is out of that one batch. So makes about 6 cups, because either 2 cups and those are 2. I mean 1 each. And actually, when I put it down in here, I want to make sure they're standing up straight and not touching the sides because they can break. So I put the lid on. I need to add a little bit more water because the water should be up to the line. Which this is not that heavy, so I'm just gonna. This is hot water that I'd use for boiling. So if you'll see where the water line is in the canner, I want to make sure I have enough hot water. And if you're doing a lot of processing, you'll need to keep adding. So then we're going to turn that on, cover that up. Once that comes to a boil, the jelly jars I will process for 10 minutes, and then an extra 10 minutes for the higher elevation. I do have some of the pint jars, so I'm going to add an extra 5 minutes. For this, even though they're mixed in there. So anyway, 20 minutes for the jelly jars and 25 minutes for the pint jars. Now I want to show you one more thing. So after that, that'll be the last batch for today, but we're going to go over here. Just going to show you. So the jars, when they come, wait a minute, I'm just going to show you this. Okay, the jars that come nowadays, actually they don't come like that. They just come in a box like that. I think these are some. Or they might, yeah. Anyway, they come in the box, and they have the lids already on them, and I think they're not sealing as well. They don't always seal. So always make sure that your jars have sealed. It used to be in the old days, you would get your jars, then there would be a flat box on top, which you would just pour out your lids and in the bands, and they had never touched the jar. But nowadays, they just have this kind of on there, and I think transporting, they just heat up, and for some reason that gasket, I think that just seals it. So I don't really like to use them, but I did use them, and I had them mixed, so I don't know what I use. So always make sure, when these have cooled down, these were peach, so we're just gonna push them down in the middle to make sure that they've sealed. So that one, you can hear, that one is sealed actually. This one I'm not. I think it might have sealed. I think it's not. That one you can hear it a little bit different noise. I don't think that one's sealed, but these you can see an indentation where it's the little hole, it was puffed up in the middle. It's now pushed the air and sealed down. So these are sealed. That one I don't believe is. So we go over here. These are still hot because I just took them out, but I usually would just, these you can see the little indentation. That one is not. You hear that? So we got 2 that haven't sealed. Now they're still hot, so they might still seal. If by the time you're done and they have cooled completely and they are not sealed, you will need to take the bands off, take the lids off, and let me just show you. Okay, these for sure will seal because they have not been on a jar, they've just in a box. So from now on, actually, when I buy jars, I will not use those lids because I don't want to have to go through the process again of processing them. So what you will do if they don't seal, you take the band off, take the lid off, which will come up easily because it hasn't been sealed. Wash these. These have to be dipped in hot water to sterilize them, and then put it back on, put the band on, and then process it again. And you could probably process it for 10 minutes because well, no, you're going to have to process it the same amount because by now the jelly has cooled down. So you're going to have to process it again for the full 20 minutes or 10 minutes if you're not in a higher elevation. So just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that. If they have not sealed and you don't want to go through and you only have 1 jar, and if you want to keep it in the refrigerator, that's fine, and then you can eat it. But if you're going to sit them out and in a pantry, then make sure that they are sealed, and that's how you check them. And so that is making cherry preserves with Aunt Sissy, and also showing you the peach preserves that we made today. And we will be back next time, and thank you for watching.